Hey everybody, it's Jeff back with another weekly installment of the most interesting coin auctions. These aren't necessarily auctions that sold for the most, but have the most interesting story about them. So let's jump right into it. I enjoy starting out with the market pulse. And this week, I'm going to quickly read through just a small snippet of the weekly market report from Legend Numismatics. I would highly recommend going to their website. They typically post it every Friday night to Saturday morning. It's a fantastic read. They're straight, blunt, to the point. But this is just the first two paragraphs. It says, good times are here, at least for now. Legend did not just have a good week, we had a monster week. We sold just over 4.5 million. Most of it was one coin. Activity on the really big valuable coins is at almost gonzo pace. They love using interesting adjectives. Can't say it enough. Less than a year ago, these coins were insanely dead. For sure, the strong activity seems to have some impact down the line as buyers scramble for what is available. Coins below $5,000 are red screaming hot, save for a few series. True quality coins are red hot. Morgan and Peace dollars and gem are strong, and even with gold dropping, better gold coins are on fire. There are several areas not enjoying the surge. Early copper, as are 3-cent nickels and bus quarters. Merc dimes are flat. Bus materials hit or miss. And if you're a contrarian, there could be opportunity there. So I thought that was a really interesting perspective. One, I fully agree. Below 5,000, coins are going crazy. I'm not necessarily in agreement that the big high value coins are doing all that good. They might be selling, but selling at values less than just a couple years ago, as I'll showcase on this video if you stay tuned. But I have noticed that certain series are not doing that well. Bus quarters, bus halves are struggling a bit. So are the seeded series. And I think a lot of people have maybe speculated that as the older collectors are selling off their collection and the younger collectors, maybe in their late 30s, 40s, early 50s, they're more relatable to maybe the early 20th century coins. Those are the ones that are doing so well that also happen to be below $5,000, whereas those older series that are more rare and more expensive are not necessarily being met with as strong an audience. So jump into the first auction. This one hits close to home. I sold this coin actually. As you can see, I sold it back in November of 2020. And I bought this exact coin on eBay and knew it was a type B. Actually, the guy who was selling it also knew it was a type B, but it was in just a plain Mint State 67 holder. So I bought it for $350 because at the time, that was the going rate for a Mint State 67 type B with nice toning. And then I paid the roughly $35 to have it re-slabbed with the type B certification on there, or the variety on there, and turned around, sold it on Great Collections for, as you can see, $660. I made maybe $200 net. I was pretty happy about that. Well, lo and behold, this exact coin came back up for sale this week. And as you could see, I mean, the toning's identical. This was my holder that I sold. You can't mistake that toning. That's a fingerprint. But if you notice, the cert numbers are different, which means the guy who bought it from me must have cracked it out, sent it back in, maybe try for 67 plus, I guess. I don't know. And then he did send it to CAC. So CAC's really the only difference. But amazingly, he was able to sell it for $1,743. Now, I think part of it was a substantially better market, but this is well beyond the typical 400 to 500 that even a CAC toned version sells for. This was probably 3 or 4x that. So it was way overpriced, but good for this guy because he bought it from me for $660, probably paid $50 in PCGS grading fees, another $15 in CAC fee. His all-in cost was $725, which is a lofty all-in cost, but he was able to net $1,550, which, as you can see, I took out the buyer's premium for a smooth profit of $825. So good for him. I thought that was an interesting sale. Jumping to the second auction, this is an elite seeded dollar. As you can see, proof 67 with the CAC sticker. It has the dark toning. Great Collections did try and take pictures, I'm sure with some added light. And you can see it's pretty nice toning. But personally, I struggle with these old proofs that just are so dark unless you get them at just the right light. They're super rare. Is this one? is a proof 67, and PCGS doesn't even have a 66.5 or 66 plus or 67. Their highest grade was 66. So this is definitely an elite coin with the CAC sticker. So CAC essentially said this is legit and quality for the grade, and it sold for $49,500, which you could see the PCGS value of 57.5, but given there's none there, it's somewhat irrelevant. But why this coin in particular is interesting. Well, this coin actually sold in April of 2013 for $64,000. You could see here. This was at Heritage Auctions. So you think about the buyer of this coin who paid 64 grand, who then in turn sold it for 49. Well, net of buyer's premium is only 44,000. So they took a whopping loss of $20,600, which this kind of goes to my belief that as Legend stated, high price coins, well, maybe in certain series, and they might sell, and I'm sure Legend is maybe making a profit on it, but the original buyers is not. It seems like these super high price coins have probably drifted lower by 10 to 20%, if not more in some circumstances. Jumping into the next auction. The reason why this nickel is interesting is, as you can see, it's a pop 2 with none finer, full step. In 1948, I know this series well. 1948 is a very tough year to find a quality strike with full steps. And of course, 67 is an elite grade. In my opinion, that's spot on. This is a high quality coin. And what's interesting about this, you can see there's only a pop of 2. Those 2 have never sold at all until recently. Well, recently, both of them happen to have sold in the last 2 months. As you can see, it's both on great collections. I can't find a record anywhere else that either of those have sold in the history of these Jefferson nickels and tracked online. But yet they both happen to come up for sale, one in January, one in March. As you can see, the one, this one sold for $6,200. So I guess this particular guy collected a little more, or gal. And honestly, they were almost identical looking. They aren't the exact same coin. They were different coins, but this was not necessarily better in any material way to justify that higher price. Maybe it's a stronger market, or maybe just 2 bidders happen to want and need this coin. So I just thought it was interesting that of the 2 that exist, they've never come for sale except in the last 2 months. The next auction, man, this is an elite and popular key variety or key coin here. 09 SVDB, 66 plus red. This is part of a coin collection that came on Great Collections, all date and mint mark in elite high grade red color Lincoln Wheat cents. I think it was called the Bellwood collection. I would highly recommend check out their auction archives. Man, were they some high quality Lincoln Wheat cents. Overall, though, maybe it was just too high quality for the market to absorb. They sold okay, certainly not poorly, but for the quality of coins and the relative hotness of the market, I would have guessed they would have gotten better values, but they were probably equal to or even off the recent comp in an identical grade mint mark, and whether or not it had CAC sticker. But as you can see here, it's 09 SVDB, 66 plus red. CAC even approved it, even though there are a couple dark spots on the reverse. Price guide 23,500. Well, this one happened to sell for pretty much that, 23,600. And compared to just recently, as you can see, one sold in January 2021 for about $1,000 more in an identical 66 plus red with a CAC. And they looked pretty much the same in terms of quality. So this just happened to catch a little bit less. This is kind of a brief aside here. Auction 5, I thought this was really intriguing because ending the exact same day, we had 2 09 SVDBs in Fine 15, one in a PCGS holder and one in an ANACS holder. Now, it's common knowledge that PCGS will always fetch more, but how much more is the intriguing question. And if you look at it, you could almost argue the ANACS coin looks just a little bit nicer, and maybe it was the quality of the photo, but I would say that's a much nicer Fine 15 than a PCGS one. As you can see, the PCGS price guide at $850. So just take a mental guess of which one you think sold for more. Well, if you said PCGS, you would have been right, but not by much. Kudos to ANACS here. I would say that's a very solid price, reaching that PCGS price guide, $850. Again, I think it's because it's a pretty quality coin for the grade, but not a big difference from the PCGS. Barely the grading fee to swap it over. And then the last one, this I thought was really cool. In all of the non-certified coin lots that Great Collections sold, I've never seen one in a Dansko album. And this was a Franklin $half collection. You see pretty nice toning, all uncirculated. When you zoom in, there's definitely some hits to the fields, but that's pretty common, Franklin $half. I know there's no major key dates. If you can't see if they have full bell line, I'm pretty sure the 52S is tough in full bell line. I think the 49S is technically the key. Feel free to comment below if you know this series a little better. But what I found interesting is you go on Gray Sheet and you look at what is the Gray Sheet bid for the full collection, all of the coins from 48 to 63D. And as you can see in Mint State 63 with no full bell lines. So the assumption is there's no full bell lines. Gray Sheet bid 685, and you can see on down. So this is an interesting collection to buy if your goal is to cherry pick the best ones, get them graded, and sell it for a profit. Well, what did this sell for? End up selling for $900, which was not quite the Mint State 64. And with the quality of toning and kind of zooming in, I would say these were probably at minimum a Mint State 65. And you almost have to believe that some of them are bound to have a full bell line. So I think there's some profit potential in buying a collection like this and cracking out the good ones and getting them graded. So that's all I have. I appreciate you watching. Take care.